Hello guys, today we'll be talking about the movie Ted. So I finally started watching some of the movies I recorded off of TV. I moved to read a bunch of them because I realized probably have no plans to watch like half of them, and I don't have time to watch half of them. But we'll be talking about the movie Ted. And is it a good movie? Well, it isn't as bad as some people told me it was, but it wasn't good either. It is mediocre. So we'll be talking about the good. Some of the comedy is pretty funny, but then we have the problem. Some of the comedy is really bad. It is one of these types of movies, okay? Sometimes the movie is really funny, and sometimes the movie is like, why? And I hate those types of movies, okay? If a movie is supposed to be a comedy, it's to be funny throughout, okay? It isn't as bad the non-comedy like Tag, but some of the comedies like, really? You gotta be kidding me? So, basically the movie Ted is basically about this guy who continues to make life worse to spend time with a teddy bear. Okay, and the whole part of this movie is basically he wishes this teddy bear to become alive, and they become like best friends, and then the teddy bear becomes like this, you know, drug addict, which is pretty funny, but this gets old entirely when the movie goes on, and some of the humor of this movie isn't that funny at all. I know a lot of people think this is like a comedy classic, but some of the humor in this movie is not that funny. But it's definitely more funny than supposedly funny movies that I watched. I was like, really? This is not that funny. Like Happy Gilmore, one of the most overrated comedies of all time. I know comedy is subjective. What I find funny will be different from what someone else finds is funny. But this movie isn't as funny as I thought it would be. And yeah, some movies like, I was supposed to be funny, but I didn't really find that funny, but they still had good plots and story. This story is really about a man who argues who wants to choose a teddy bear over his girlfriend. And the fact that I know it's supposed to be like a ridiculous movie, but it doesn't, it's just dumb. Okay? It's just dumb. Okay? And they made a sequel to this, which I don't know why they made a sequel to this. I don't want to see the sequel to it. I don't want to see a sequel to this movie, which they made in 2015. And for some reason, the boss who hired the bear for the job, he just does all the things that are wrong, and he continues giving him promotions. Like, I get it's supposed to be funny, but it gets like we realize the logic of that. He's still been fired, okay, and then they chose someone who was actually good for the job, and it just doesn't make any sense. But it was still funny, okay. But overall, Ted is just a mediocre movie, and I find Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb score both 69%. Did people really just put that just for the meme? Okay, did IMDb just put the score at 69 just for the meme? I think they probably did. Because they followed, it was funny. It was wolves. They did it for the wolves. Sequel at 6.3, so they didn't put it at 69. So, yeah, big L there. But, yeah, there we go about Ted. So, if you want to see a movie about a man who basically wants to abandon his girlfriend for a teddy bear that takes drugs, then this movie's totally for you. But if you're a sane person, go watch a classic comedy instead of Ted. That's I put it as the mediocre tier movie. So in terms of comedies, this is a mediocre comedy. It isn't a bad one. It isn't a good one. It's mediocre. 5 out of 10. Goodbye.